I'm Mel Bright from Studio Bright, and this is Emily Watson, who's the project architect. This is our garden tower house. It's located in Wurundjeri country, and we acknowledge the Wurundjeri people as the traditional owners of this land. Here's the site in Melbourne's inner city suburb of Cremorne, a suburb as much defined by its small workers' cottages as the old factories and warehouses that are more recently being converted to large whole block developments. Our site, a super tight 4.2 metre wide site with north up the page. Here's the existing workers' cottage. With a heritage overlay, it was largely restored and retained. In a dense urban environment, the challenge was to squeeze a full family brief in with generous outlook and a connection to garden and light. It was then a juggle to balance privacy, retreat and connection to the surrounding neighbourhood. To fit it all in, we needed to go vertical, and really, like a lot of alts and ads projects, the new bit is down the back. But we had this little lane on the north side of the site, an old drainage and night cut lane, and we saw it as an opportunity for an expanded interface and another front, rather than a security problem. We had big city views across Melbourne's large sporting neighbourhood, and these were maximised. Here's the existing house, lean-tos and sheds out the back. These were removed. With a good portion of the Victorian visible from the street and lane, we thought it was important to retain a good amount of the house. A typical addition to these types of projects would be a large volume on the rear, with really only one facade with garden connection and light. So instead, we designed the program into two mini towers with a link on the southern side, trying to maximise the garden outlook and opportunity for light to the interiors. And then expanding the backyard play space to the lane. Despite the extreme width constraints, we chose to offset the upper level to make space for a garden and added a rooftop garden to catch those city views. We looked for garden and landscape opportunities to be injected wherever possible for our clients, but also for a generous offering to the neighbourhood. Breezeblock. The breezeblock skin wraps the little towers, and I suppose it continues a series of similar projects of ours that utilise a double skin facade to respond to these types of dense urban environments. Previously, we've used brick screens, hit and miss, timber screens, mesh screens. And like other projects, the double breezeblock skin functions as privacy screen, overlooking screen, sunshade, balustrade, and vertical garden structure. But it also acts as a unifying device for the architecture, windows, balconies, solid walls, all happening within the skin. The humble breezeblock seemed to sit well in the Cremorne context and provides defence and decoration in a single gesture. Here's the view from the little lane. And I suppose rather than a security risk and bin store, we saw it as an opportunity for a borrowed backyard. The small courtyard fence works as a sliding screen, balancing privacy and security. We hoped that it would activate the little lane and give the kids a good place to play. Here's the ground floor plan, again, north up the page, the little lane up across the top. The girls' bedrooms, 2 girls in the front rooms, and we've squeezed in, you can see here, a little flexible study space. Designed pre-COVID, we see how useful these spaces are now, but it's also a guest bedroom, it's a TV room, it's really the second living room and a bathroom, and then the living spaces punched in down the side with courtyards also inserted through. Here's the existing hallway, house hallway, and we're just, as usual, carefully balancing period detail with the new insertions. A small bathroom but filled with light. That's that flexible study and guest bed, kids' rooms. Here's that transition down to the new bit that gets light from the lane and a little courtyard. And the kitchen, grabbing every millimetre. And I suppose finding an opportunity for detailing when things don't quite fit. Kitchen joinery that turns into laundry, bar, record player joinery. And the daybed seat that doubles as another little living space and a spot to read a book, always making the edges work as hard as we can. Down to the small lounge, which benefits from some separation from the kitchen. It's connected across the courtyard, generous in height and double garden outlook rather than footprint size. Up the stairs now. That's the upper plan with the main bedroom. You can see the tiny ensuite that we couldn't even photograph, but it has generous outlook across. And sorry, there's the stair up and the stair up to the roof terrace. The bedroom's so tight that we've designed a custom bed and joinery elements to make sure it all fits, catching the city views. It was really a hard choice to offset a facade on an already tight site. So we doubled up the space by locating the external rooftop stair within the facade skin, getting garden and access in one. And there's that rooftop stair that we imagine will one day be like walking up through a garden arbour with plants spilling out to the neighbourhood. Finally up to the top, that's the rooftop. The rooftop that doubles the outdoor space, perfect to watch the fireworks, and you can hear the roar from the MCG.
On a site this tight, it's really about working hard to hide all the things that you can't see in those images that Mel's shown. So lots of tricky juggling of services, range hood, exhaust, downpipes, hot water service, all hidden. And thanks to an excellent builder who helped execute that very well. Onto some construction pics. And the next one just to show you a sense of the scale of the site with the digger just fitting in. Some plan details. So the whole building has been set out to breeze blocks and mortar joints and the openings working within that constraint. And then some section details looking at the steel glazing around the courtyard. Again, because the site's so tight, just those corner details and how it all comes together. And this image from the builder working through that detail on site. So the breeze blocks, and you can see the mitered corner detail down here, and the sample from the builder mocking that up to make sure that it worked. So the execution of the mitre junction was really important to the building. You can see here that it's visible from the internal corner as well as the external corner. Stair detail, so there's a lot of pressure on this stair with structure, fall prevention, planter, garden, all of that working hard within that breeze block skin. Onto the Palladiana flooring. So
To jump through, yeah, sorry.
no worries. Here where we're working through to hide the control joint so it's not seen. Yep.
Trimming edges.
And then one-to-one sketches that we were sent to the builder just to show the intent of it. And then finally, the timber sliding screens that Mel was showing earlier, balancing light and privacy.
Sorry, Em, I know we're running out of time. So I just got one sentence. So we hope the house contributes back to the city and that it demonstrates some ideas for densifying and enlivening our residential streets. When the next thing to happen is a new development proposed next door that uses the bin lane as its new front, we'd like to think we've succeeded in making an unloved bit of city more valued.